Hi, I am Maria, and this is Daily Rumbling about things that I've been thinking about for the past few days. And as someone who usually gets swayed away by my own thoughts, I wrote down three themes that I've been thinking about recently. And let's just go with the first one, which is art and creativity. So, I've been thinking about art and self expression and how actually every single one of us is creative. We are just creative in our own way. So, I think that I think that creativity and art is something that is necessary. Just like play is necessary. And even if we call ourselves adults and we go to a respected job, workplace, and we build family and we have our responsibilities and so on and so forth, I think it is really, really important to keep play in a game, you know, to keep play in our life and just I really hope that I will be able to save the playfulness that I have, save the naivety, some percentage of naivety in my life because it what really this is what really makes life so magical and so beautiful and so rich in experience. And even a simple day as this one, like, but I just see the sunshine, and it's been a while. I see it because it's winter here. I'm living in Moscow, and it's so rare that you see a sunlight, But when you have that spirit, that childishness within yourself, even the sunshine just makes your day so much better. And so with the art and creativity, you see, I faced some people recently that told me that I'm not a creative person. I wish to be, but I'm not. And I don't think that's really true. I think that you are a creative person, it's just in your own way. Teachers are creative. They can't without creativity because they deal with kids and they work with them, and kids are a synonym of constant creativity. So you really cannot be not a creative person and work with children. A doctor has to be creative because you have to you definitely do need systematic knowledge, scientific based proof and evidence, all this, knowledge about different medicines and drugs and biology and chemistry and physiology and all these things. Definitely. But in order for you to, I think that a really good doctor, it is someone who uses knowledge, science, and intuition, and art, creativity, because you need to be able to envision, you need to be able to find that perfect individualistic approach to this particular patient that is sitting in front of you, and that requires intuition and creativity. An engineer is a creative person because you need to envision in your head the building, the structure, the how different materials um, works, with each other, works together if they do, you know, and what's going to be the result. And that requires creativity for sure. It requires mathematics and physics and knowledge and science, but it also does require creativity. An IT person is an extremely creative person. You need to be able to see the algorithm in front of you, to see ahead, and that requires vision and creativity. So each one of us is a creative person in some way, and you are creative in your own way, you know. And I when I see people, when I look into their eyes, those of you who say, I wish I could be creative, but I'm just not having that mindset. No, you do. You do. You just have a different way. You just have different system of your own creativity. So this is something that I was thinking about: art and self-expression and being a creative person. Um, and how so often we just dismiss certain traits, certain characteristics about ourselves that we actually do have, but we think we don't. So next thing is about intuition and feeling the way. And the reason why I've been actually contemplating about it is that um, I've always been intuitive, and I've always trusted it, and I've always noticed things. But ever since I developed and grew intuition so much, it's been just crazy. And I'm so grateful that I am surrounded by people who do understand this kind of concept and don't think that I'm crazy. Because recently, particularly since the beginning of 2025, it's almost like I've been told what to do. And I've been told, you know, certain dates when I can travel, when it's best for me to travel. Certain period, like what am I supposed to do in February? You know, what kind of month it's gonna be for me? What kind of month was January? What kind of month will be March? And this is just like an intuitive information. I just receive an information that March is gonna be a very important month where I will be challenged to act. And that's always been very difficult for me because, you know, I can predict and I can foresee and I can feel, but the action, it requires me to really go through my fears. So this is actually where faith has been crucial to help me to act. So yeah, I've been just feeling that, and I can see, again, as always, this is not a surprise for me anymore, but every time I just feel so blessed and so grateful and so amazed. It still amazes me every single time, how it works and how perfect it is. And I can see how it's all unfolding and how it all happens, and I can see how my feelings come true, how my intuition comes true, how my predictions come true, you know. It's just so beautiful, it's so magical. And I wish I wish you to follow that. If you feel like it's not time to move, don't. Just see, just wait and see how it goes. And I'm sure I can assure you, you won't be disappointed. You know, if you feel like it's a time for you to step back and to finish up some project, don't start new ones. Follow that. You know, you will be surprised. And and if you feel like this is a month for you to act, really act, follow that. And again, you will be surprised. So yeah, that is. Oh, and I also want to kind of share again a little story from this morning, which really reminded me and actually inspired me lots this morning. So this morning I received some. well, it does apply into my life as well, but someone told me some disturbing news, and it kind of, I'm regularly not a person who is pessimistic. I never experienced depression. I usually not someone who reacts so much when receiving news that are maybe not so positive or something. Like, I believe that there is no problem. Problem is your approach to a situation. You see it as a problem and you call it a problem, and it becomes your problem. But anything can be solved, so it's just a regular another situation. But yeah, overall mood in the house kind of just got a little low. And I don't know why, I just decided to turn on the sea sounds of the sea, like being at the seashore and listening to seagulls and listening to waves clashing and feeling yourself touching the sand and the sunshine and the breeze. Just I was just immersing myself, into all these feelings as someone who is very visual and sensory sensitive. It's very easy for me to put myself into that environment, to imagine like I am there, like I can literally feel the sand. It's not so difficult for me. So I was really like, it really brought me so much relaxation and ease and calm, and I was just feeling like I am there. You know what I'm saying. um, and then so I just put that music on the background. It was just my background noise, and I was telling the person who I'm living with that it's gonna be alright, and just imagine you're at the sea. And so we were drinking tea right here, right in front of the window, and as we usually do. And we usually watch out of the window, and we see so many different people, and walking their dogs, and some like pigeons flying, and trees, and transportation cars, and so on and so forth. We just talk and drink our tea. And suddenly, they tell me I can see seagulls, and I'm like, what? And the person says, yeah, look, like, and we look out, we look at the sky, and there literally, first there was only one seagull, and then two, and then one more joined them. So here we are, listening to the wave sounds and seagull noises, because literally this music, like, it has seagull noises. And we're looking at the window in the city where we do not see seagulls. We see all kinds of birds, just not seagulls. There is no sea nearby, okay? We see ducks and we see pigeons, but just not seagulls. We're looking at 3 seagulls circling right in front of our window, so we could perfectly see them. And we're just like, girl, what is this? And it was just beautiful. And I just thought that, see, it's that easy. It's just you relax, you relax into life, and you decide what kind of day it's gonna be. Because right before, a few minutes before, I was telling this person, like, today, the whole day, imagine you're at the seashore, okay? Your house is right on the front of the seashore. You're walking in front of the seashore, not on the pedestrian street, right in front of the seashore. The subway, you're just moving from one point of a seashore to another point of the seashore. So just fully immerse yourself into a feeling like you're at the seashore. And a few seconds later, a few minutes later, here we are looking at the seagulls, which you don't really see in a city. So that was a magical moment, and we just acknowledge it. We both were surprised, pleasantly surprised, very grateful, and acknowledged that, yeah, this is how this day is gonna be, and it's just beautiful. It really is beautiful. So trust your intuition and trust that little voice. It really is you, and it really is there to make your life so much easier if you just listen to it, even a single tiny bit. So the next theme and the last one for this video is death. I've been thinking about death the other day, and I've been thinking about it because on my astrology chart, I have a lot of emphasis on my 8th house, which is the house of death and transformation. I have a lot of planets there and a lot of aspects, and it's just one of the big houses in my personal astrology chart. And it's so interesting because I never really feared death, and I always kind of approach it as just a transition. Like a journey will go on. It's just in a different form, really. And especially after I faced death of my closed ones, of my family members, of my father first, which was a complete shock to me at that time, but which really transformed me and my mindset, my attitude towards death and towards loved ones and towards family, for sure it did. And my grandparents, where at that time when my grandparents passed, I already was very much involved in meditation and spiritual practices, just holistic lifestyle. And I remember meditating on the days when they passed. And I remember smelling very floral scent all day long on the day when they passed. And then lately, at the end of the day, I find out that they actually passed. Just news don't really go quickly. And like I was feeling the floral scent all day long, as particularly on those days. And during meditations, they were also very interesting, and especially with one of my grandfather, I felt his guilt. I felt it like my own, but I knew it's not my own because the moment I connected with him, I was totally fine. I began to cry so much, and I just felt the heaviness and I felt the guilt. It was so obvious, and I instantly realized what it is all about, and I just talked to my grandfather, and I said I forgive him, and I asked for forgiveness as well, and it was just beautiful. And then that guilt changed with love and acceptance, and the vision of my grandfather just kind of disappeared slowly on the background. So I faced death, and I worked through it, and I even wanted to go to hospice, a place where people kind of waiting for death, really, a place where there are people who are like there is no way they're gonna survive a particular sickness, for instance, right? Unfortunately, and I just wanted to spend time there, and I wanted to talk to them about it, about death, and actually maybe even share with them some practices, meditations, just to help them see that there is actually something beyond the material world, beyond the physical world, because there sure is. And just be there with them, and see how I'm gonna feel, So that was a very interesting idea to me. And I was thinking that actually, I think in our society, unfortunately, even though it is changing, but unfortunately, the attitude towards death is as something terrible, as something we should all grieve and cry in being silent and detach from it, just Just pass it as quickly as you can. Go through it as quickly as you can, move on through it. And I think that's misleading. Not misleading, I mean, it's a choice for everybody, but personally for me, I think it it takes away last chance to be with someone who I love or who I knew. It takes away my chance to smile for the last time, to them, with them, to be open, be vulnerable with them, to share my love with them before their last breath. It takes away an opportunity to talk, because you're supposed to cry and be quiet, be silent. And I was thinking that, yeah, that's what I was actually thinking about, that this kind of attitude to death takes away our chance to celebrate the life lived, to celebrate the memories we had, because we're so concerned by our own grief that we make funeral our day. We make funeral our day of sadness and sorrow, where actually it's someone else's day of transition, someone else's day of thanking this life, thanking people who spend this life by your side, by their side, and saying for the last time important words. And I think that if we learn to approach death as celebration, a sad celebration, we're definitely gonna miss this person for sure, and this is what brings sadness. But it's not our day. It is that person's day, a very important one, as important as birthday. And if we could just really direct our attention and our focus into finishing up all the things we didn't finish with this person, and allowing them to finish things with us, and allowing them to smile, and to laugh for the last time, and to hold our hand for the last time, and to say words they never did, they never said. And we wouldn't cancel their words about it's gonna be all right, you're gonna be just gonna go and you will keep living, and I'm feeling okay, and them smiling. We think that they must cry, and we think that they must regret, and they must feel fear or whatever, and we must feel the same. But I think it's not really true. I think it's just the accumulated emotions that we have not shown, that we have not expressed. They all are coming out on these days, these kind of days, especially, and we just allow, it's like giving us a permission to cry more than usual, to express all our grief. And this grief may not be particular about this person who is dying, but just general in our life, which is also kind of beautiful, which is also has its own symbolism and meaning and value, definitely. But the I'm talking about the particular event, the dying of that person doesn't have to be so so pessimistic, so sad, so like, I think it's important also to approach death not only as a sad event because you're gonna miss this person, but also take an opportunity to look into their eyes and smile for the last time. Because I remember my dad's funeral, and when I smiled, well, I smiled because that was defensive mechanism, but when I smiled, everybody just shut me down, kind of like, don't smile, and I'm like, why? And everybody just cried and cried instead of sharing something good about my dad, and remembering something nice and beautiful about my dad. I don't know. This is just my thoughts, and I think there could be some other way we approach that. I don't know. That's my thinking. That's my rumbling. So, thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you so much for listening to me. And if you have anything to add, please feel free to start a dialogue in the comments. I would love to converse with you and share thoughts and ideas. Have a great day. I wish you all the best.